A very good morning to everyone. So today I'll be doing the analysis of the Hindu dated 4th of November. I've shared the screen with you and okay, so let's move on to the news analysis. Fine. Now, National Dam Safety Team faults planning design of Kaleshwaram project's barrage in Telangana. Now, the six-member expert team of National Dam Safety Authority that examined the sinking of piers in the Block 7 of the Medigadda Lakshmi Barrage of the Kaleshwaram irrigation project in Telangana has faulted the planning and the design of the project and stated that a combination of issues involving planning, design, quality control, and operation and maintenance have led to damage. Now, your National Dam Safety Authority. Now, this committee visited the barrage site after the drift of some piers was noticed on this date. And it also held a meeting with the Authority of Irrigation Department. Now, what are the serious remarks? While making serious remarks on the projects, the 43-page report has mentioned that the panel has given information on only 11 of the 20 aspects. Now, what is the main reason for the failure of the project or the design? Now, the main reason for the failure is the settlement of the barrage raft. The piers being monolith with it have also settled, moved, and cracked. Further, there appears to be what the deficiencies due to lack of stringent quality control during the construction of subsurface contiguous piles and plinth connected between the raft and the cutouts. Now, gaps might have been created in the pile formation, making the barrier permeable, leading to pipping and the subsequent progressive failure. Two other barrages, that are your Anaram Sundila barrage, have also similar designs and construction methodologies. Just a minute. Okay, so what we need to do here is, what is your Dam Safety Act? For that purpose, you should know why or how come we can have this safety of dams. So just a minute, let me open the slide with you so that I could share the informations. Just hold on for a second. Now let's discuss about the Dam Safety Acts. Now, if you see what is the Dam Safety Act, the Dam Safety Act of 2021. Now, the aim of the Dam Safety Act, or this act, was brought in for what purpose? What was the reason behind it? You should know about it. Fine. Now, this Dam Safety Act, what is the aim for it? Now, this aims at what? Surveillance. This aims at inspection, and this aims at operation and maintenance of specified dams across the countries. That means the act that was brought, the main work of the act was surveillance, inspection, operation, and maintenance of all specified dams across the country. Now, this act applies to all the specified dams or all the specified dams of the country. And if we are saying that it is specified to all dams, that means there must be certain specification, because if the height is less, or if you say the breadth is less, then how can you, how will that dam come into Dam Safety Act? So it is said that all the specified dams in the country will be under this act, and these dams should have the specified range of what? That its height should be over 15 meter, and the breadth should be between 10 meter to 15 meter. Other than that, what are the provisions? Now, under the provisions of the Dam Safety Act, it says that it constitutes two national bodies. First is your National Committee on Dam Safety, and the second national body they are referring is the National Dam Safety Authority. Now, the National Committee on Dam Safety is working on what functions? So, the function it performs, or this committee is going to perform, is that it is going to recommend. That means the work of this National Committee on Dam Safety will be the recommendation part. So, this will recommend what? Regulations regarding dam. That means what kind of safety measures need to be taken, what kind of acts need to be done. Based on this, what you are going to do is you should frame or you should actually consider it for the construction of the dam. Fine. So this is regarding this. Now, next one is National Dam Safety Authority, and this National Dam Safety Authority is, or the function of this National Dam Safety Authority will include what? So it helps, or its function includes implementing policies of National Committee and the resolving matters. Implementing policies of National Committee and resolving matters between state dam safety organization or you can say it's between state dam safety organization and any dam owner in that state. Fine. So this is why you need to do this analysis. Just a minute. This national dam safety or the dam safety rules or the Dam Safety Act becomes important for you to cover. Fine. And under dam safety, you are getting this team. This is a six-member expert team, and this team is about what? National Dam Safety Authority, which is again under the provisions of your Dam Safety Act, which is again under the provisions of Dam Safety. Fine. Okay, now let's move on to the new news. The next one is now the five Karnataka villages come under surveillance after Zika virus outbreak. That means in past also there have been many analysis where Zika virus has been covered. So let's do it once again since it's there. Now, what is Zika virus? So now what you need to know where is the Karnataka Health Department, which is closely monitoring the situation in the Chikbalapur after a mosquito pool in a village of the district was found to be positive for Zika. And what happened was that in this village was declared as the containment zone for testing by the National Institute of Virology. As many as 888 houses with a population of nearly close to 4,000 in the containment zone are under intense surveillance. So, what you find here is that mosquito samples collected from this village in the jurisdiction of the primary health centers during routine surveillance were found to be carrying the Zika virus. So on Friday, the department submitted a detailed report on surveillance measures undertaken to the National Center for Vector-Borne Diseases Control under the Union Health Ministry. Now, the state health commissioner reports were expected in a week. So, what you need to know about Zika virus here? So, let's first do the detailing aspect of the Zika virus. Okay, fine. So, what is Zika virus? Now, Zika virus is what? A mosquito-borne virus. And when this is a mosquito-borne virus, that means so where is the origin of this virus coming from? So, this was first identified in the Zika forest. Just a minute. Okay, so this Zika virus is a mosquito-borne virus. Now, this mosquito-borne virus was identified in where? In the Zika forest of Uganda, and the time was 1947. Now, the point is, how do the transmission takes place? So, this Zika is primarily transmitted to humans. And how is this happening? Through the bite of the infected mosquito. And which mosquito? It is Aedes mosquito, Aedes aegypti. Aedes aegypti. Now, there's another mosquito, especially, most of the time it is Aedes aegypti. And in some of the scenarios, it could be your Aedes. No, just remember it's Aedes aegypti. Now, it can also spread through blood transfusion also. That means the Zika virus can also spread through how? The blood transfusion. And in some scenario, it is from an infected mother to the baby also. So blood transfusion, in some scenario, it's infected mother to baby, or during pregnancy or childbirth also. Fine. Now, what are the symptoms for the same? So, like if the person is infected from Zika virus, how would the person know? So, all those people who are infected with this virus do not, experience any kind of, very particular symbols. But what do they encounter is that there is often a mild fever, and there are joint pains that you see. So you will experience mild fever, joint pain, headache. You will encounter red eyes, that is conjunctivitis. Now, all these are your symptoms for Zika virus. Now, in some scenario, what happens is that these symptoms appear for 2 to 7 days after bitten by the mosquito. And this shall last for how many times? For several days. Uh, Now, if you see, the point is that okay, you have got the symptoms, you know that the person is infected from Zika virus, etc. The point is that what could be the cure, and if the cure is easy or simple enough, then there's no issue. But definitely it would be strenuous. So how or what are the complications that are going to occur? So based upon that, the complications you find is that the virus infection is usually mild. It can be a serious consequence for women who are pregnant, or you can say the babies that are in contact with or in the womb. Why? Because of blood transfusion. Fine. Then it is also said that in some scenarios you will find what autoimmune disorders. Further moving, what you find is that how or what kind of the specific treatments are required in the case of your Zika virus. So you need to know about what, since you are having the issue of autoimmune disorder, what you can go for is what treatment would be preferred is that there is no specific treatment since the symptoms are very layman, so the symptoms are layman, so that could be treated from the normal medicines only. So what you need to see is that you need to work upon your muscle weaknesses and paralysis. Fine. Now this one was for Zika virus. Let's move on to the next one. Let's move on to the new analysis. Now moving on to the eighth page, you find a narrative of this Roticola. This is not important for you to cover. Now the point is that the IITs are overcommitted in crisis. So the Indian Institute of Technologies are globally recognized as the crown jewels in India's higher education system. Indeed, they are often the only Indian higher education institutions known internationally at all. Now, they have produced leaders in high tech and related fields and abroad. The IITs may be the most difficult higher education institutions to gain entry in the world. Now, with more than a million students appearing for the entrance examination each year and competing for nearly 17,000 seats in the 23 IITs, yet the IIT system is in serious trouble at the same time that some of them are building campuses abroad as part of India's soft power efforts. Now, it is worth taking a careful look at the current realities to understand what a looming crisis. Now, what are the foreign adventures in the IIT campus? So, a branch campus of IIT Madras has just opened in the Zanzibar, and the IIT Delhi will be launching programs from its Abu Dhabi campus in 2024. The tiny first entering class of 70 students has been accepted. Now, how many of the faculties are from Chennai campus and will they stay in Zanzibar? The admission standards are not like those at home. Admission is based on IIT Madras Zanzibar selection test, that is your IITMZST 2023, that is your screening test. Now, this screening test uh, offers to potential applicants were located not only in Tanzania but also in Ethiopia, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and UAE, which has a strong presence of the Indian diaspora. Now, initially, the Zanzibar campus is offering only two programs. And what is that? One is your bachelor degree in data science and artificial intelligence, and MTech in data science and artificial intelligence. Now, they are open to students from across the globe. The annual tuition fees is $12,000 for the bachelor's degree program and $4,000 for the MTech program. And as noted, only 70 students have signed up for this program. So report says that the rules and regulations of the IIT in Zanzibar campus will be based on the existing norms of IIT Madras. Apparently, the campus is under renovation. Are there appropriate laboratories access to IIT and related amenities? In other words, has IIT Madras jumped into the international arena too soon, or should it be jumping at all? Now, what are its motivation for this adventure? Now, what is the purpose of this enterprise? To earn funds for the home campus, to expand India's soft power, and quite important, who is investing the significant sums required to start up a branch campus. And of course, this and the other Indian overseas effort must be of high quality. So the author is of the opinion that the program that is being started now, this program should be more crafted as in what should be of quality purpose. Over expansion at home. Just a minute. The first IIT was established in 1950 at Kharagpur in West Bengal, with four more following in a decade. Most of these are partnered with top foreign technological universities in US, Soviet Union, United Kingdom, and Germany. They quickly achieved both excellence and top reputations. They hired Indians trained at the best foreign universities who were eager to contribute to national development. But these were small institutions. The total student enrollment was about 20,000 in the original six IITs. After 2015, the government expanded the IIT system, adding seven institutions in the following decade, most located away from major metropolitan centers. Now, what you find is that these new IITs have struggled to meet the high standards of the traditional institutes. Some were created by upgrading existing institutions such as Indian School of Mines, Dhanbad or Dhanbad. So, ISM Dhanbad. While others were greenfield startups. Top professors are often unwilling to work in isolated places, and the best students are also hesitant to enroll. In 2021 to 2022, what you find is close to 360 undergraduates, 3,000 postgraduates, and close to 1,800 PhD seats were empty in the new IITs. There should not be several tiers of IITs with varying standards and levels of prestige. But the system is doing something right. Enrollment in all the 23 IITs that has expanded to more than 1,20,000 with 25,000 students graduating in this year. A clear indicator of more access and opportunity. Now, faculty challenges. Uh, how are you going to bring those kind of jewels in the IITs or in the higher education system? Now, what are the faculty challenges and future prospects? At the heart of any academic institutions are the professors. Attracting the best and the brightest is increasingly difficult. Salaries are dramatically below international standards. Foreign trade Indians are generally reluctant to return to uncompetitive salaries. Often, interior work environments and more academic bureaucracy, even though the IITs are less constrained than the rest of the academic system. So what you find is top Indian talent is increasingly attracted to the burgeoning IT sector. So what happened? What is happening is altogether. By the time people are graduates, what they want is that they could get settled down or they could have their own money. So the point is that who all are willing to go for this higher education system. So this is top Indian talents is increasingly attracted to the burgeoning IT sector, emerging biotech and related fields, and not to academic, both within India and abroad. So this is what I told you, that the whole focus goes on to the fact that they want, or you can also say that Industrial Revolution 4.0 is there on, it's almost there. So why would anyone go for the higher education system when when they are getting more job offers, or they can, you can say that a good future precisely here. Now there is now a severe shortage of academics in the IT system. In 2021, out of this much of the sanctioned post, this much were vacant. It would not be an exaggeration to say that IITs are in crisis. Building quality in the new IITs is a significant challenge. So what you find is that the author is saying that it has become a challenge. And what is that challenge? Building quality. Other than that, what they are saying is, and in the long run, if this is not done, the prestige of the entire system will suffer. Maintaining faculty quality and attracting young professors committed to the IIT idea and to India's development are both serious tasks. Expanding the system domestically may not have been a wise idea, and building overseas branch campuses is highly problematic. One might question if overseas expansion is a good idea under any circumstances, but in the context of the domestic challenge facing the system, such expansion seems particularly ill considered. That means a lot of work need to be done, especially in the new IITs. Because if you want to increase the enrollment in that sector, in the sectors of the academics, you have to develop the interest of the students in that area. With industrial revolution 4.0, what is happening is that students, or you can say people, are getting more attracted towards IT sector, and probably it is a sector which is going to offer tremendous opportunities. Fine. Okay, now further moving on to the next article. Retrograde step, and then you have office of action and authority. Governors should not give scope for criticism, they challenge elected. Fine. Let's go on for a retrograde step. A government panel to check facts. A government panel to check facts is liable to be misused against critics. Now, misinformation, or you can say misinformation and its more malicious variant. Disinformation have been the bane of today's unfettered communication system, especially social media, where the necessary filters are rarely applied over the spread of news. So, filters are important for what? To check the fake news content. Many of which are based on false information deliberately or ignorantly placed. The Tamil Nadu government's decision to constitute a fact checking unit to deal with misinformation and disinformation pertaining to state government. Now, if there is filter, what is going to happen is the misinformation is going to be checked. Now, misinformation and disinformation pertaining to the state government, emanating from all media platforms, sounds on the face of it a reactive step. Now, this decision follows a similar move by the Karnataka government, but for the governments to deem themselves or units constitute by them as the adjudicators of what is false is a retrograde move as an interested party deciding upon what is factual or not is problematic. Now, what has happened is Tamil Nadu's move must be seen along with the center's notification of IT rules earlier this year, which amended the Information Technology Rules 2021. So, IT Rules 2021 and allowed the Ministry of Electronics and IT to appoint a similar fact checking unit. That means they are talking about what? Appointing a FCU, and this FCU is a fact checking unit. Several parties, including the Editors Guild of India, the Association of Indian Magazines, and the Political Satirist, had challenged the IT rule enabling the unit. That means during the hearing, what has Bombay High Court said? Now, Bombay High Court had raised the issue of lack of necessary safeguards that will allow the fair criticism of the government. That means they want to say that under IT rules, what is the claim of the Bombay High Court? That they require or there is a need of necessary rules, or you can say necessary safeguards. Now, necessary safeguards for which or for what purpose? The necessary safeguards should be so that a fair criticism of the government could be allowed. Now, it had also remarked that even if the motives for the introduction of such a rule was laudable, to tackle false news, it could be done away with it if its effect were unconstitutional. That is, if it infringed upon freedom of speech and expression that is guaranteed under Article 19(1)(a) of the Constitution. That means, if anything is against Article 19(1)(a), that means, fair criticism gives you what? Freedom of speech and expression. Now, freedom of speech and expression. So anything which is, against the constitution shall be treated as unconstitutional. If, if the person is not giving, or if there is, if the speeches are, or if the criticism is unfair, unconstitutional, so that could be checked. But since the Article 19(1)(a) of the Constitution is providing you what freedom of speech and expression, that means fair criticism of the government should be allowed. Now, the verdict is set to be delivered on December 1, but the remarks indicate where courts stand on constitution of a government's fact-checking unit. And this is for what? To adjugate on reports and information relating to its functioning. The Editors Guild of India had urged Karnataka to specify the scope and powers of the fact-checking unit. Now, besides suggesting that the meanings of misinformation and fake news was best left to independent bodies, and that monitoring network should follow principles of what? Natural justice, and this should be included, or this should be included giving prior notice and right to appeal and judicial oversight should be there. That means they're talking about what? Right to appeal and right to judicial oversight should be. States have their information and publicity departments that can clarify on news related to them. And there are independent fact checkers who tackle what misinformation on social media. So, tackling of misinformation on. It would have made express sense for such units to be set up with the involvement of journalists and other stakeholders. But that has also not been the case with the Tamil Nadu government's decision. So this is a retrograde step, that is government panel to check facts is liable to be misused against the critics. Moving on to the next analysis. Now, action and authority. Governments should not give scope for criticism. They challenge elected regimes. That's two states have approached the Supreme Court of India against the conduct of their governors. Once again, flags the problem of political appointees in the Raj Bhavan using their authority to delay the implementation of decisions by elected regimes. Tamil Nadu and Kerala have questioned the delay in granting assents to the bill that was passed by the legislature. So Tamil Nadu is also agreed that the proposals released. Uh, just a second. Okay, Tamil Nadu is also agreed that the proposals that are related to grant of remission to some convicts, sanction for prosecution of some former ministers, and appointments to the state public commissions have not been acted upon. Now, governors need not rubber stamp any decisions, but one can question the practice of governors, especially in states not governed by the ruling party at the center, blocking decisions and bills. For instance, some governors appear to be hostile to the very idea of amendments to university laws if they seek to leave out chancellors, invariably the governors themselves, from the process of appointing vice chancellors. Now, what is all this is happening? See, the controversy is related to what that means the office of the governor. So what you find is that the Tamil Nadu and the Kerala government have approached to Supreme Court of India, and what is that against the conduct of the governors. Now this flags what? Now this is totally talking about what the problem of the appointments of the governors in the area, and this is why because of they are using their authority for what purpose? To delay the implementation of decisions by the elected regimes. Now similar scenarios have been witnessed in the other states also. So what is all issue behind? The issue is that the Tamil Nadu and Kerala have questioned the delay in granting the assents to the bill. And which is that bill? That this is the bill that has been passed by the legislature. So who is going to give you the assent? It is the governor. So now Tamil Nadu is also agreed. So that proposes, and what is the proposal of Tamil Nadu? To relate or to grant the remissions to some convicts and sanction for prosecution of some former ministers. So appointment to the state public service commissions have not been yet acted upon. Further, three things that Tamil Nadu government has, proposals that have been given by the Tamil Nadu. Next is what they are saying, that the Tamil Nadu governor forwarded the bill for exemptions of what the NEET, that is the National Eligibility Come Entrance Test, to the president. Now, what happened was in the similar scenario. Now, this bill was also kept in the delayed part. So, if you see what they are saying is The idea of having governors as ex officio vice chancellor of most universities is only a practice and is actualized through their founding statutes. However, what you find is governors seem to be laboring under the misconception that they have a right to be chancellors and tend to delay assent to any bill or assent to any bill that clips or removes their power. So it is time to have a national prohibition on governors. So they are talking about a step which is again um, important, but at the same time you see the step is again very, very serious one. So national prohibition on governance. This is being burdened with the role of chancellor of any university as recommended by the uh, Justice M.M. Punchi Commission on Center-State Relation. Now, it is unfortunate that absence of a time frame for giving assent is used by some governors to stymie laws passed by the legislature. Now, one would have thought the Supreme Court's observation arising out of the Telangana government's petition, reminding what constitutional authorities that the phrase as soon as possible appearing in the Article 200 of the Constitution, this contains what? Significant constitutional content. Now, this would have driven into them a sense of immediacy in considering bills. Now, what the court meant was that it would be constitutionally impersonable for the governors to independently hold on to bills without convening a decisions. That means what is happening is that the government is holding on to the bill for what without giving the consent. Fine. Just a minute. Oh. The states too out to be prudent in their decision making without leaving scope for questions on the merit of their decisions, the absence of any laid down process to seek applications and assess the relative merits of applicants before appointing the chairperson and the members of the Tamil Nadu Public Service Commission. Now, the larger point that none should forget is that governors are explicitly restricted in their functioning by the aid and advice clause in the Constitution and ought not to misuse the discretionary space available to them. That means the discretionary space that is provided to the governor should not be misused. Fine. Okay, now let's move on to the next article. Now, India will work with Sri Lanka on its debt treatment. And this is what the finance minister has said. So, the finance minister holds talk with Sri Lankan president and they discussed cooperation, intergrid connectivity, aviation, power project, oil exploration, and this is in the town of Mannar. Now, India will continue collaborating with Sri Lanka on debt treatment while the island nation while the island nation attempts to emerge out of last year's grave economic crisis. Now, Sri Lanka must bring its major creditors, including who? China, India, and Japan, on board for debt treatment. This plan should be agreeable to all, or in order to unlock the second tranche of the International Monetary Fund's IMF extended fund facility. Now, Sri Lanka reached a staff level agreement with the IMF on economic policies to conclude what the first review of the 48 months extended fund facility supported program. Now, following approval from the IMF management and the executive board, which fund has said will depend on the critical step of Colombo reaching an agreement with its official creditors. Now, Colombo will have access to this much, that is $330 million. Further, in her discussion with the Sri Lankan president, the finance minister discussed cooperation in intergrid connectivity, aviation, power projects, oil explorations in the northern towns of Mannar. The union minister has arrived in Sri Lanka on a 3-day visit. She called on the senior monk in the islands. Now, while no new agreements were inked, so when this meet happened, there were no new agreements. Were inked. Now, some previously discussed projects were firmed up. That means major discussion were on the previous projects. Now, during the meeting, what you find was that the Sri Lankan president and the finance minister witnessed the exchange of a revised MOU, and that was on what? Granting $15 million assistance from India to promotion of Buddhist ties between the countries. Now, with $10 million out of amount funding, solar electrification of religious places. Now, what is NAM 200? So, you see, the Sri Lankan president has said that nearly $4 billion of Indian assistance to Sri Lanka during the painful economic crash was given, or this help was given by India. Now, if we are stable today, it is because of the assistance. Now, if I talk about this 200 NAM 200 event, this marks 2 centuries since the arrival of Sri Lanka's Malaya Tamils. Now, they were brought to Sri Lanka by the British planters to work in the country's coffee and later tea plantation. When Sri Lanka faced its unprecedented economic crisis, India felt duty bound to stand with its neighbor. We could not bear the difficulties our friends in Sri Lanka had to face. Our government and the people of India acted collectively and came to the assistance in record time. The Sri Lankan president and the union minister virtually launched the foundation stone, laying what ceremony for 10,000 houses being built in the hill country with Indian grant assistance. The scheme was announced 6 years ago, and this was during the time of Mr. Modi's visit to the Central Highlands. Other than that, what they are sharing is that I'm happy to share that the phase 3 is nearing completion with 3,700 houses already handed over to the beneficiaries. And the finance minister said that the project to build 4,000 houses that are launched in 2016. Now, meanwhile, the 12th round of negotiations on the stalled economic and technology cooperation agreement between the two countries took place. A delegation of The officials were led by the person, the chief negotiator and the joint secretary in the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, visited Sri Lanka, the presidential media division said. So, if you see, the article was more about the discussions of the previous projects, the help provided by India, and that was the time of financial crisis. Okay, fine. Let's move on to the next article. Just hold on for a second. Where is now 7 years on? India set to open new consulate in Seattle. So 7 years after Indian government first announced plans to open a consulate in Seattle, home to many big technology companies, the Ministry of External Affairs has appointed its first consulate general in the US city. Now, the envoy of Joint Secretary is the ministry point person for all multilateral coordination. Sources said the announcement about the consulate opening is expected to be made during the 2+2 talks. Mr. Gupta, who will head the diplomatic mission with 16 non-diplomatic and local staff, is expected to travel to Seattle. Apart from the Indian Embassy in Washington, India maintains consulates in Atlanta region, Chicago, Houston, New York, San Francisco. Now, while the decision to open the mission was first announced in the 2016 India-US joint statement after talks between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and then US President, the proposal which was to accompany a reciprocal US plan to open new consulates in India did not make much progress. So the US is now expected to open two new consulates as well. Currently, it maintains consulates in Chennai. Which one? US. In the places of Chennai, Hyderabad, Kolkata, and Mumbai. Now, during this visit to Washington, the Prime Minister had repeated the proposal. The United States intend to initiate the process to open two new consulates in India in the services or in the cities of Bangalore and Ahmedabad. India will take steps to operationalize its new consulates in Seattle and open two new consulates at jointly identified locations. Now, PM's talk with the US President said this. Other than this, what is the ministry official saying? That this did not indicate why the original proposal in 2016 had not moved forward, but sources said that US government had slowed down plans after a tussle with New Delhi over the government blocking the sale of the old US consulate building in Mumbai. That means the old building of the consulate had to be, or they are choosing to sold off or sell off, and that is the reason why they are demanding what, a new consulates. Okay, so this much was for today. Thank you so much.